and welcome Ottawans and Ottawans from around the globe. Today's video is on the least well-explained topic in all of humankind, line of sight. If you understand line of sight, your battles will be taken to the next level, and I guarantee you'll walk away with more victories. I just want to mention that this is a re-upload of a video that was previously on my channel that was having technical difficulties. If you want to see different combat-related videos like Forced War Surrender or Combat Strength, those are all on my channel. And you can feel free to hit like or subscribe to see more similar content in the future. Without further ado, thanks and enjoy.
We come to talking about line of sight. Now, this is not one that's particularly well understood by all. Now, a quick caveat before they start. Early game archers do not need line of sight because they have this indirect fire trait shown here. The other thing I should mention is the UI glitches. You'll see here I'm trying to attack with my archer, but it doesn't have direct line of sight. It's because there's actually a forest in the way, but the UI doesn't show that. Now, to have line of sight, you need contact with the enemy that's not obscured by anyone or anything. Anyone or anything? What do you mean? I'm talking forests, mountains, and units. Now, this was a confusing topic when I first started, but I actually visualize it in my mind as two different 2D views, and I find it makes it a lot easier. Take this for example. You have your friendly archer up here in green, and your enemy in red. This guy has a direct line of sight because there's nothing in between him and the enemy. But if we add this friendly warrior in between, you'll see that about 50% of his view is obscured. He does not have a direct line of sight. Similarly, in this scenario, if there's a forest there, he won't be able to hit him either because 50% of his view is blocked by the forest. Now let's look up-down. Well, you'll see there's only one tile between our archer and the target. If there's a unit or a forest in between, this is not a direct line of sight. So now we know from the top what makes a line of sight. There has to be nothing in the way if you're going diagonal or up and down. And depending on the position, you may only have to make sure one tile is clear, or it could be two. But now we also have to look at it from the side. This has never been explained before in documentation. You need to understand that units are 1 level high, and forests are 2 levels high. So you can see here between our archer and our target, there's a unit, and he's 1 level high. So if you shoot, you'll hit him right in the back of the head. But if you were elevated 1 level, say you're standing on a hill, and you shoot now, it clears the unit and hits the target as expected. So it will allow you to make that shot even though there's a unit between you and the target. Don't get confused. This is not saying you have a clear line of sight. This is saying you can make the shot. But now we get to forests, and like I said, forests are too high. So if you're standing on a hill that's only 1 level higher than the forests, you're going to shoot and it's going to hit a tree somewhere. So when you look at it from the side with the adjusted height, this will let you know if you can make the shot, but not necessarily if you have a clear line of sight. Hopefully this clears up your understanding of a line of sight. But if it didn't, now we're going to go over real game scenarios and situations, and even give you an expert strategy developed in-house. So here you'll see on my back line, I have my archers, and in the front, I have my melee units. If I look here, the archers do not have a direct line of sight, so they're taking a penalty. Our melee units, though, are in a depression 1 level lower than our archers. Our archers can hit the enemy. Because our melee units are lower, the arrows will fly over them. Remember that side view of the 2D plane? But they don't have a direct line of sight because between the archer and the enemy, there's our unit. Remember the top view of the 2D plane? But here is the optimal strategy. I can move this melee unit over, get a direct line of sight, and fire with this ranged unit. Then I can move my melee unit up to block and defend him for the next turn. That leaves this second ranged unit open to attack the enemy with no line of sight penalty. If I had a third melee unit, I would have deployed him here and then walked him into this slot, thus protecting the ranged unit from attack when the enemy's turn plays out. You're cycling your units around to get the benefit of the line of sight, but still have your melee units protect your ranged units because they're vulnerable to close quarters combat.
And that's been it. That's been all of line of sight explained. I just want to give a quick shout out to these channels that inspired the content you saw here today. If you liked what you saw and you enjoyed the lighthearted explanations and found it good content, feel free to hit like or subscribe. I'm still a channel under 100 subs, so it helps me out tremendously. I play Humankind every day and post videos at least once a week. And if you leave a comment, I'll personally reply to each and every one. I just want to say thanks for watching. And if you have some extra time, I've handpicked the videos on screen right now as ones I know you're gonna love. Enjoy.